Kia ora te whānau, making a quick video, a little bit of a kōrero around the NCEA Review 2018. First things first, I have to mihi to Minister Chris Hipkins and his forward thinking. Quite frankly, NCEA does need a review. It was brought in under the last Labour government, and I was one of its first students. It needs a review. It's important that governments review things from time to time. There are a couple of things that I like about this review, so those are the things that I'll start with first. First of all, the idea that we get rid of fees, to make NCEA more accessible, particularly for our lower socioeconomic whānau, which is a lot of our Māori and Pacifica whānau, to be quite frank. Making that more accessible by removing fees. That's a really great step in the right direction. That is something that I absolutely agree with. A few other things that either are unworkable or not feasible or maybe wouldn't work in the sector, but I mihi to the intention of them, and I mihi to the research that backs up these ideas, and I mihi to the thought that went into those ideas. As it stands, things like the record of achievement, capturing evidence outside of school and what they do outside of school, well, we just don't have the capacity for that. I mean, what are we gonna send cameras around to people's houses and to their maraes and to their everywhere and follow them outside of school and capture all of the learning that happens and send a teacher to everyone's house? I don't think that that's going to work. The review of literacy and numeracy credits, what literacy and numeracy standards, unit standards and achievement standards are we going to drop? And then the halving at NCEA level 1, which means the dropping of exams. The worrying thing about the dropping of exams at level 1 for me is that you're just delaying the shock. Exams are shocking. You might as well get used to them when you're 15 at NCEA level 1 so that they're less shocking by the time you get to level 2 and level 3. We do need to keep exams. Exams are a way of getting ready for further academic study. They really gear you into abstract, critical thinking and a way of understanding things academically. So you need to have exams as soon as you start NCEA. We do not need to get rid of them for NCEA level 1. I like the idea of integrated learning. I've been a big advocate all my career for integrated learning. The only thing is I'm primary trained, and so of course I believe in that. I don't think that we need to review the way that we assess integrated learning. What does need a review is pedagogy. What does need a review is teacher training. What does need a review is how we compartmentalize the curriculum. The thing about integrated learning, where it falls down in the NCEA context, is that as good as it is, once the kids get to university, Polytech, Unitech, you name it, wānanga, things are compartmentalized again. So integrating things across the curriculum is really, really difficult, because if they get too used to that, even in those 3 years, once they get into higher forms of study, things are compartmentalized again, and they don't know how to unintegrate their thinking. So yes, some really amazing ideas in the NCEA review, and I understand the research behind it, and I understand some of the thoughts coming through, but just in terms of the current sector and as it is and where we are right now, some of it's unworkable, some of it's not feasible, some of it's it just wouldn't work. But do I mihi to the fact that we are reviewing something that's really, really an integral part of our education system and a benchmark for our New Zealand education system? Absolutely. But nah, the NCEA as it is right now, it couldn't handle those changes, let alone secondary schooling. couldn't handle those changes. Do we need to integrate learning, and do we need individualized pathways for our youth? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not satisfied that we can do that in the secondary school context. To be quite frank, I'm not satisfied that in a school of, say, 2,000 kids, where 1,500 of them or even 1,000 of them are doing NCEA, you could adequately facilitate all of them having their own individualized learning programs. It would not be workable or feasible among the staff, let alone among those 1,000 students. And if you times that by hundreds and hundreds of schools, it would quickly become very difficult, particularly if teachers weren't trained properly. Yep, that's my whakaaro. I'll probably put this up on Facebook and YouTube. You're welcome to comment here, but also definitely go to the NCEA Review website that you can Google. Kia ora.